Physical, mental, and emotional pain, trauma, self-doubt, anxiety, regret, and unexpected emergencies of life. They come in many forms. It doesn't care when, where, what age, what ethnicity, what gender, what we look like, or how much money we do or do not have. Many times, we don't have control when it happens, how it happens, or why it's even happening, robbing us of our time and our energy to take care of basic needs for ourselves or even the people that we love. It began when I was a year old, my father driving, mother sitting in the back of the car, holding my little helpless body, frantically attempting to grab and hold my little tongue with her fingers, trying to prevent it from lodging deeper back into my throat and suffocating. Even though I can remember my parents nearly being there every second of my life, decades later I remember my parents recalling that day with tears down their cheeks, wishing they would have been there just for another split second, remembering how helpless they felt trying to make the pain stop while attempting to save their baby boy's, my life. Arriving to the emergency room and having that last image of me being held down, crying, placed in a small box on a gurney, and being pushed through 2 large ER hospital doors. Later, my parents tried to hire the best speech pathologist, but could not afford one except on their basic medical plan, hoping and believing and praying I would be able to speak. In addition, I would be diagnosed later with multiple learning disabilities, including dyslexia, below average abilities in reading comprehension, sentence reading fluency, reading recall, slow processing speed, and so many others across recorded testing documents. Not knowing then, but my tongue being severed, sewing back into my mouth in addition to 7 more concussions and other future life-altering experiences would set the precedence, and I didn't realize the emotional and mental difficulties that would occur on the inside that no one could see. Until it started feeling like a battle just to get out of bed in the morning, like a weight sitting on my chest and overwhelmed. Many times not even having the motivation even to start my day or energy to complete even basic daily activities. Large parts of my life I just thought I could ignore and run away from. But like a dark cloud spreads over a valley, it grew, consuming and covering so much of who I was, self-sabotaging and undermining, and overshadowing my time, my health, my finances, my relationships, and even my relationship with God, that caused me to never really feel good enough or ready enough to do things. Anxiety, moments of depression, lack of self-confidence, comparison, procrastination, insomnia, brain fog, becoming 60 pounds overweight and trying various health programs, and the inability to know how to have a healthy work-life balance. Many periods in my life I would tell myself just to keep pushing forward, saying things to myself like, I'm fine, just be grateful for what I already have in my life. And I'd repeat in my mind over and over, people already have enough on their plate. I don't even want to bother them. And then, as we were walking feet away,
We turn next here to dramatic new details from the massacre in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
The deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history.
Getting ready to cross from the sidewalk at South Las Vegas Boulevard and Mandalay Boulevard, we heard a concert to our left, so we stopped to see groups of people just feet away laughing and smiling and having a good old time. That looked fun, so we began walking towards them. But then we started hearing what we thought were firecrackers or festivity sounds, or maybe we thought they were regular Las Vegas, normal, outside loud entertainment sounds. But then we heard someone say randomly, "We think someone shot her husband in the face." So we were confused, we stopped and paused. It turned out that a person was not shooting anyone from the street, and these sounds were not firecrackers or concert festivity props or regular loud Las Vegas sounds. There was so much confusion that filled the space next to us and all around the concert, and subtle screams were being drowned out by loud concert music, singing, and other people's laughter who didn't even know what was going on yet, while a swarm of 1,000 round of bullets from modified semi-automatic weapons flew a few feet above our heads into the groups of people feet away. In the weeks and months following, a road of diagnoses and difficulties would lay ahead as a result of dealing with nightmares, flashbacks, blackouts, sudden sweats, and this strange, eerie brush of death feeling and feelings of helplessness and guilt for even being alive. Then, on another afternoon, driving as a passenger on the 133 highway, back to work after lunch like any other regular day. According to the police reports, a vehicle was recorded driving 109 miles per hour in the opposite direction, losing complete control of his vehicle, crossing over the center divider and they say many times you might not know when you're going to die. I would always think maybe at least I would get some sort of last moment to prepare. Your whole life, in a split second, flashing before your eyes, without warning. Meaning, hope, living fully, self-doubt, not making the time on things I kept putting off, things I wanted to do, travel more, spend more time with family, investing more time into what I loved, regret, self-worth, value, purpose, connection, healing self, serving and making a deeper impact for others with my gifts, skills, and life experience were all things that were just flashed through my head in a split second. Then, as I awoke, I heard almost in a soft whisper, "You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Just breathe. Breathe. Breathe." It's an interesting thing that happens when I was faced directly with my mortality. In that split moment when not knowing if I was going to have tomorrow, it's terrifying and at the same time simplifying. In that moment, the things I was overthinking, daily worrying about, feeling hesitancy on, thinking over and over in my head of stress in my life, thinking I could not do this or that, seemed to slowly lose their grip on me. A few months later, I made a difficult soul decision and decided to sell most and let go of all my businesses. A life-altering decision, spending nearly 24 months away from work, social media, electronics, even from some friends and family in various areas of my life, in reflection, prayer, meditation, clearing out all the noise in my mind. And in the depth of this new stillness and silence, a question began to surface. At first, I wasn't even aware or knew what it was. It continued trying to gain my attention as though a dog's paw is gently rubbing against a door to be let back into the house. A question I eventually realized that was trying to get my attention for years. Are you ready yet? Immediately, in a stern, almost annoyed tone, feeling in my mind, I remember thinking, ready for what? Then again, immediately, I sensed in my gut, my mind, my body, and my soul all at once, remembering the deeper parts of you that you've placed to the side. So, immediately, I eagerly searched, looking into my past, present, reaching out, speaking to hundreds of other individuals, asking hard questions, reading books, looking across multiple forms of how to possibly create a life based from the deepest dwelling of my heart, of people's hearts, to regain more control over time and choices, and how to build both work and personal time fully in alignment more from the core of who we are as a person. We're living during a time in history where society has become so rushed, moving so fast, bombarding us with societal problems, chaos, local and global stressful news.
This is CNN breaking news.
Diseases,
COVID-19.
It's called dengue.
Growing Ebola outbreak.
economic uncertainty, extreme TV shows, social media consumption, global wars, technology advancements, and artificial intelligence moving things at nearly light speed paces than ever before in human history, distracting us from the core of who we are, and distracting us from deeply knowing how much power our choices give us at our fingertips, creating a life from the deepest parts of us that make us feel alive, versus falling into a settling, temporary, standard, comfortable feeling type of life. The daily hardships of life, struggles, anxiety, feeling overwhelmed, busyness, hecticness, building up over time, can be just as difficult and traumatizing as being in a traumatic experience. It can weigh heavier and heavier until it feels like we can barely wake up in the morning or have energy to do even the simplest of tasks. Maybe you might be struggling with anxiety or feeling overwhelmed, not having enough time to just being able to just relax. Having thoughts thinking, how am I going to meet everyone's expectations? And many times worried about what can go wrong. Things might be piling up more on your plate because another person couldn't or is not doing what you thought or agreed to, and maybe you're even having more days of thinking, I don't even know where to start because everything seems so urgent. And more days you're having maybe days thinking, how did it get to be so late already? I haven't even got half of what I had planned for the day. Maybe you're going through problems in a relationship and you're on the verge of a divorce or going through a divorce or a breakup, and it feels like your world is upside down. Maybe you feel like you have a decent life, but for some reason you feel a few times throughout the year a sense of unsettling or slight heaviness or restlessness in an area of your chest, your gut, and or in your mind, that there's something else, something more. I realized it wasn't the immediate fast death that frightened me during those moments I thought would be my last. It was realizing that split second, not knowing if, many days back home, I'd been living in a reduced, settled, somewhat comfortable version of myself. Regardless if I was busy from sunrise to sunset with my to-do lists, attending and helping family and friend activities, maybe spending occasional hours to decompress, I had things just enough figured out to be comfortable to having a decent handle on things, but The issue was a feeling in my gut, a constant, subtle angst feeling, regardless if I still had a connection with family, friends, or God, or if I had happy moments in my life. It was just there. It's just that feeling that there was something else. I'm not sure why or what brought you here, but if you are listening, the one thing I am sure of in life is that there are no accidents or coincidences. As I began looking back, I realized I would just dismiss many moments of tiny whispers, gently trying to get my attention to embrace something else. When I finally made a decision to stop and listen, stepping out from the whirlwind of my to-do lists and just casually brushing it off and dismissing them, I started to recall that there were many whispers there all along. When I would be winding down for the day and hopping in the shower, I found myself starting to think about things I'd been putting off that I wanted to do. I wanted to volunteer more. I wanted to travel more. I thought maybe many times starting a small side business that I could enjoy more, helping people. But I let those thoughts just fade away. And I remember when I would see a movie or hear a powerful song, it would inspire those deeper parts of me to go do things I would not normally do, like call an old friend or take a little more risk of doing something I had been thinking of previously, but once again, I would just let it pass. And many times, I remember seeking answers to questions I had, and then praying and meditating, and after I would sense to know what to do next, I would start to make those changes, and then placing other people or other things or the busyness of life or my to-do lists as a priority instead, getting distracted once again. Many times I would just dismiss and justify avoiding these whispers, thinking, what I'm already doing is good enough. I've got a decent job that pays the bills. For the most part, I can't complain. Yes, I've got responsibilities, but who doesn't? Regardless, I cannot add one more thing on my plate, even if I wanted to. I already wasn't choosing my full self in my life, so how could I recognize these whispers? These whispers that were calling me to make choices, to live as a full, healthy version of myself from my core, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. I was listening and making choices in my life from a less than full version of myself, and as such, continued hitting limitations. I had to decide, is taking time to choose and set up my life to support my mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being fully versus choosing being a second-rate version of someone else? Is it a ego, self-absorbed, selfish kind of love? Is making sure that my cup was full before trying to fill others' cups selfish? Through a journey and finally being open to stop long enough to listen, fully embracing skills, gifts, and life experiences, good and bad, meetings from mentors I made along the way, and so much more, I began not only to witness, but to personally experience things that would start unfolding. I never would have believed that after the trauma of my own tongue being severed and reattached inside of my mouth, spending frustrating, painful hours just wanting to give up with a speech pathologist, and having countless days with endless feelings of self-doubt, lack of confidence, and insecurities throughout my life, that along with my friends' and family's help, that I would ever not only be able to speak, but be publicly speaking on and off stages, teaching classes and courses across different areas of the globe, teaching and doing what I love. I never thought I'd have a brain quick enough or the inner peace to learn under the highest of pressures to become a certified and licensed first responder. After being a few feet away from 1,000 rounds of bullets during one of the U.S.'s largest modern mass shootings in history. And I never would have thought, after failing the first responder exam, the first time taken, and being severely discouraged, then being slammed on the highway in a severe several car pileup, I'd be able to somehow sense a peace rolling out of my vehicle, running down the street, blindly walking through thickness of smoke and gasoline filling the air, crawling into the front of a seat of an exploding vehicle, and pulling out a man so he could be back with his family. I would have never conceived during growing up and socially ridiculed with learning disabilities being called Dumbo Joe, and being medically diagnosed and living most of my life with dyslexia and average academic abilities, and not being born with a business mind and never taking a business class or having any business experience. I would have ever foreseen knowing the steps to finally leave the safe 9-to-5 job, then being connected to the right people and the circumstances and connections that would lead enough to the know-how to and the confidence to own and operate online and several offline businesses, bringing in several six-figure income streams, being able to have more days now filled with more energy, less anxiety, and more of an overwhelming sense of peace. And even getting international local news coverage and being blessed to work with clients such as Sprint Global, Good Morning America, Kelly Ellis, HGTV, TLC, Jim Hill, Rachel Hunter, Adam Sandler, Allison Stoner, Kobe and Vanessa Bryant, Marnie Batista, In-N-Out, Covered California, Simon and Citadel Outlet Malls, and so many others. I never would have believed I had enough time or money to travel throughout over 26 countries for weeks and months at a time and fulfill bucket list items I wanted to do throughout my life. But ultimately, I especially never would have believed, after having my tongue and head traumas and the 7 concussions that followed, and doctors sitting me down with the MRI and X-rays, nerve and lab tests, and conclusive reports showing hypertension crisis, stage blood pressure, and critical stage cholesterol level numbers, and told I was in a heart attack and stroke territory. And it's showing spinal and nerve damage that caused full left body weakness and progression of bulging discs in my upper and lower back, immune deficiencies, chronic fatigue syndrome from not having nutrients absorbed into my body daily, in addition to hospitalization from uncontrollable food addictions and becoming 60 pounds overweight. Then, finally being told by the certain parts of the medical community, it's just probably not going to happen. After sharing I wanted to set a future dream goal of participating in a triathlon, that one day, not only would I be able to race in a triathlon, but also have the opportunity to compete in the Olympic State Championships and make it to the National Olympic Triathlon Championships. Then becoming so inspired and embracing my passion for health and opening up health and neuromuscular practice, creating a cutting-edge method of integrative neuromuscular therapies that have been able to help so far over 36,000 people, and teaching courses from ages 6 to 96 on mobility, longevity, strength, nutrition, healing, and well-being. Day in and day out, I can still remember thinking and feeling, is this it? Am I just one person, part of a large rat race, here to just work and work until I die and be stressed? Waking up, taking a shower, brushing my teeth, making breakfast, preparing meals, going to work, household chores, tidying up, laundry, driving, working, social gatherings, occasional birthdays, work events, family events, school volunteer events, eating dinner, preparing for bed, going to sleep, then waking up tomorrow and doing it all over again. Then maybe hopefully retire in an older body, going on a few more vacations, maybe enjoying some nice food, then finally being able to spend more time with family and friends for a few more years, and then come to the end of my life and die. What are those deeper parts that make you, you? Those areas you might have been just too busy for. Looking back, have there already been moments along the way whispering, just trying to get your attention? Have you ever gone through trauma or struggles you think could help others, but you keep having this feeling that you're not ready or good enough, thinking, why would people listen to me when there are so many other professionals out there who could help them instead? Maybe you're working hard at your job and it's generally getting to be too much. You have so much frustration, you just want to leave, but you decide you can't because you can't see a clear idea how to make something else work that can provide enough for the responsibilities that you have. But still, the days at work are feeling more and more frustrating and less satisfied. Have you ever wanted to start something else, to start doing something like a lot more, but stop because you're not really clear how and where to start? Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. Life. Time seems to be slipping through our fingers, and we're living in a time where days seem so long, but years are going by so quick, wondering where these years have gone, distracting us from the core of who we are and distracting us from deeply knowing just how much power each of our choices have in our lives. Choices that create a life supporting and allowing us to embrace more of those deeper parts of ourselves that can change anything, that can change everything. Yet, under the busyness and hecticness of life, knowing life passes so fast, arises from the deep an unwavering, never allowing us to forget, a whispering, a nudging to remember you.
Hello, I'm Joseph Tomeo, and I just want to spend a couple minutes in a little more personal way expressing my gratitude, spending some of your time here today. I do understand how important time truly is these days. As I journeyed and journaled for months during the production of this video, I had to make the decision of reaching far back into my past, reliving raw moments and thoughts and memories and emotions. And I just want to say I never could have gotten through this without my team and some dear, dear friends. Each of you are so amazing, not just your professional skills, but also more so your individual personalities and how you just care for others, how you cared for me. I just feel blessed that our paths crossed, and I'm just excited that you're excited for all the things that are coming up on the horizon that we get to do together. During the months of journaling, it was difficult remembering how I allowed life in general, some things, even some people, not even doing it on purpose, kind of shadow gifts and skills and deeper things I felt called to do that stemmed from the core of who I was, what I went through, and I truly thought I was living as a full version of myself. I felt decent overall, I could say, but then there would be this occasional unsettledness inside that would come up wondering, kind of knowing, was I meant for more or something else? And just when I would have extra time to think about some of these things, I'd use it to decompress from being so tired and get distracted. One thing after another would occur where I didn't even feel like I was in control of my life. Then if a little free moment did open up, I'd find myself procrastinating, saying later, I'll get to it later. Then somehow start in that process, start self-doubting, not feeling good enough or knew enough, like technology, or where and how to start, not feeling ready enough. If I've shared some things that may have connected with you, or while you were watching this video, connected with you, of course it would be great. click on that subscribe button, follow us on YouTube. Plus we share videos, step-by-step tutorials and roadmaps and resources, how I and others have been able to tap into more clarity and confidence while decreasing distractions, and also how to steadily regain more time in life between balancing family, work. And you'll also be giving tools and resources how to increase your natural energy and financial opportunities, knowing your personality fuel, which I love, and just overall resources to reclaim back quality time with whom and how you want to spend it. I truly believe that each one of us have unique personality traits, life experiences, natural gifts, skills, and resources all around us, not just to earn a strong living, or in our little team, we like to say enliving, but also to make a deep, meaningful impact into the world. So thanks again for joining me, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks so much. Bye for now.